Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the newest generation Zodiac Sea Wolf. There's various different dial versions. This happens to be one of the limited edition models. The Sea Wolf has been sort of an icon of dive watches since I believe the 50s or 60s when Zodiac first came out with the Sea Wolf, and it's been something which has been in their collection for a while. The new kind of Zodiac brand, which has sort of been sort of brought about the last couple of years, has two kinds of products. They have their kind of new products, and then they have their retro revival products. So if you recall that we reviewed the Zodiac Astrographic, that was one of those heritage retro pieces, and this is the Sea Wolf, which is another part of that. This is a really great watch. This particular color tone with the silver dial and the light blue bezel may not be for everyone. I think it's interesting, but there's definitely a version out there for you. There's a lot of versions. There's actually different hand and hour marker sets as well, which is neat. What Zodiac has essentially done is really offer a lot of sort of value for the money here, and that starts with a movement that they make themselves. So essentially, Zodiac is owned by the Fossil Group, and Fossil has a Swiss movement manufacturer that produces their own movements. And I believe, I don't know 100% for sure, but I believe that the movement inside of here, the automatic movement, is essentially a clone of the ETA 2824, and they call it the STP-1-11. Again, it's an automatic movement, and it has the time and the date. And that's cool that it's technically an in-house made movement. The case is in steel, and it's 40 millimeters wide, so it's not too large of a watch, and it's quite thin for a 200-meter water-resistant watch. You can see the bracelet here is definitely retro-inspired, but if you'll notice something, this bracelet does not have a deployant clasp. There's no locking deployant that ensures the watch, doesn't fall off your wrist, for example, when you're wearing underwater or anything like that. It has a more simple type of clasp, which is actually extremely rare to find on watches these days. And so I was very skeptical about this type of clasp, and there's still some things about it which are not as convenient as like a fold-over deployant, but I'll get to the strap in a second. Case is relatively thin. You got a nice rotating diver's bezel there. One of the things I like about the diver's bezel is it kind of replicates some of the look of older models where you'd have like an acrylic piece over the bezel. It's actually mineral crystal over the bezel. Some of the fancier watches have a sapphire crystal, but that really sort of increases the cost. There's a sapphire crystal over the dial itself, but the mineral crystal is the inlay over the rotating bezel. Very legible dial. I like there's a huge amount of lume. There's a really great ability to see this watch at night, and I think the detailing is really great for the price for sure. So let's put the watch on it, and if you haven't used straps like these before, actually I'm going to show you something first. They're kind of tough to get on. You have to do a little acrobatics with your hands here, but I want to show you something. You see that? That's a little spring-loaded action right there. That's actually kind of for comfort. And so when you put this watch on, as your wrist expands a little bit, it's kind of like a small micro adjust, and that's pretty neat. So to put this watch on, again, you got to kind of get used to it there. It's not too hard to do, but you got to, the hardest part is this part right here of getting that little piece in there. It's like threading a needle, but then you get this part on and then you clip it in, and it's comfortable. And again, if I expand my wrist a little bit there, that little spring-loaded part expands a little bit, and it makes it very, very comfortable, which is really great, to be honest. So you can see it there on the wrist. Very conservative, handsome, nice design. This is not your large, 45 millimeter, 50 millimeter dive watch. This is much more conservatively sized at 40 millimeters, but I like it. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people, especially those who have been a little bit kind of overwhelmed with the size of modern dive watches, who feel that they are too large, who feel that they're too thick. This is very, very conservatively sized, and you can see that the bracelet is also very slim. Because you have this type of clasp right here, there's still a piece of plastic there. I'll take that off. Because you have this type of clasp, it's definitely thin. There's virtually no extra thickness there on the bracelet. So if you want something which is out of the way, you don't even feel it, this is definitely the type of diving watch you want to get. I'm really excited about what Zodiac is doing. I think that they're very intelligent in how they're proceeding along with their sort of retro-inspired timepieces. There's a lot to like here. There's definitely a lot of room to grow because they have a good heritage. Zodiac has a lot of cool things to talk about. They have an interesting history for sure, and I'm sure people will comment about that. And I think today, with some of these watches, which are retro-inspired, mechanical, and also good value, there's a lot there for the mainstream as well as watch collectors by and large. This Zodiac Sea Wolf model is the ZO9254. It's actually a limited edition of 82 pieces, which I think is pretty cool because I was born in 1982, so that's kind of cool that it's a limited edition of 82. This is an 82 out of 82, but I just think that's neat. I never had a watch that was a limited edition of 82, and I guess if you're going to be a watch lover, you have to be sentimental about some things, some stories that kind of appeal to you and speak to you. Anyway, so the price for this Zodiac Sea Wolf is, the retail price is $1,195. I think that's a pretty good value for what you're getting, and you can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch soon. Thanks.